This video provides a brief overview of how to use a blood pressure cuff with a Cheetah NICOM monitor. The NICOM monitor comes with a non-invasive blood pressure cuff. It can be used without the NIBP cuff, however a mean arterial pressure is required for NICOM to calculate and display peripheral resistance measurements. Other measurements such as the stroke volume variability, SVV, stroke volume index, SVI, cardiac output and cardiac index can still be measured by the NICOM without the NIBP cuff. Traditional systemic vascular resistance, SVR, is calculated using the equation SVR is equal to the mean arterial pressure minus the CVP times 80 divided by the cardiac output. The NICOM resistance calculation assumes the contribution from the CVP is clinically insignificant. This holds true for the vast majority of patients. The resistance reported by the NICOM system is termed total peripheral resistance, or TPR, and is calculated using the equation mean arterial pressure times 80 divided by the cardiac output. The total peripheral resistance is also reported as an index, TPRI, by using the equation the TPRI is equal to the mean arterial pressure times 80 divided by the cardiac index. The normal TPR is approximately 1000. The normal TPRI is approximately 2000. To change the settings for the NIBP cuff, select Menu, NIBP cuff, and then you are given three choices to either select the NIBP cuff time interval, select the manual NIBP cuff measurements to immediately obtain a BP reading, or resume interval NIBP cuff measurements. Selecting the NIBP cuff interval time lets you set the automated measurement interval times from 1 to 3 to 5 minutes or more. To manually enter data, select Menu, Manual Data Entry. You then have the option to enter the saturation, hemoglobin level, or the mean arterial pressure. If the NICOM NIBP cuff is not being used, measurements of the mean arterial pressure from another NIBP cuff or from an arterial line can be entered. The resistance index calculation is derived from the mean arterial pressure and cardiac index, with the normal value being approximately 2000. The resistance calculation is derived from the mean arterial pressure and the cardiac output, with the normal value being approximately 1000. The NICOM monitor will update the mean arterial pressure and resistance when the NICOM NIBP cuff is applied and set to measure the blood pressure at a selected interval. Alternatively, the mean arterial pressure measured from an arterial line or other NIBP cuff can be manually entered to allow the NICOM monitor to calculate and report the peripheral resistance. The NICOM monitor will also update information on oxygen delivery indexed to the patient. To display the DO2I values on the NICOM monitor, manually enter the hemoglobin level first, followed by the patient's oxygen saturation. The hemoglobin level is reported as grams per deciliter. Hence, a patient's hemoglobin level of 135 milligrams per deciliter should be reported as 13.5. A normal oxygen delivery index, DO2I, ranges at or above 450 to 600 mils per minute per meter squared.